let the Browns hold this L, right? Let's hold this L because they went over there and they lost. Now I know what they're gonna say. I know what they're gonna say. They didn't lose by that much. Dillon could stay in there because he only lost about 4 points. But hey, that don't tell the whole story. See, they did exactly what I said they were going to do. What did they do? Let Quishon Junkins and the running backs do the heavy lifting. Let's take a look at the stats for Cleveland because they tell more of the story than the score. And y'all know I sat down and I did not watch the highlights. I tried to a little bit, but it's not exciting football, right? Quishon Junkins is more exciting, I would say. Quishon Junkins is more exciting than the Dillon part. And I think that that's why they're giving the ball to the running backs. All right, so I had this queued up, so let's switch from the QL, L in London at that. So you know there's a lot of conversation about moving on to Shedeur. We're going to talk about that because Rex Ryan was backpedaling today. And I wasn't even anticipating on running into him. I was just watching the show. See, they tricked me. They put Randy Moss up there. They put Randy Moss on the desk. I'm like, oh, that's Randy Moss. So I'm watching Randy Moss talk. The next thing you know, the camera pan over and Rex Ryan is talking about Shedeur. I'm like, see, that's what they do. So shout out to Randy Moss. He has a segment called You've Been Moss. So they've made him an integral part of, I guess that's ESPN that they over there on. But they let Rex come back, but he had to change his tune. So I'm sure he had a good talking to, but he still slipped in something in there at the end. We're going to talk about that. All right, so let's take a look at these stats, shall we? I already looked at it before, so I can know what the hell it was I was talking about. So we have right here, they both scored. I think Dillon scored first with like 6 minutes on the clock. Then Minnesota scored. So the Browns got on the clock first. And as you can see, the game ended up 21-17, 4-point differential. They're going to say, that's not bad. That's not bad. But see, here's the part that I'll be looking at. I'm looking at, okay, so I have Dillon, right? 19 to 33. This is about 57%. This is bad. See, he got 33 reps. 33 reps and only used 19 of them. This just like what he did in camp. About 50, 57, 58%, right? So he doing the same thing in the game that he is. Now, when Flacco played, they had Flacco up there with like 45 reps because they were trying to use Flacco a lot to try to get him knock the rust off. Let's just say that. And that didn't work. Dillon is only a hair slightly better than Flacco. So while he didn't have any interceptions, he had 2 touchdowns, 190 yards, but he's 57% accurate. And y'all know how I like to use the part with the colors so you can clearly see how quickly you can get a quick glance of how the game really went. Of course, there were 322 yards, but only 182 on rushing and on passing. But look at rushing. This told you 140 yards on the ground. This told you this is how the majority of the game went through the running backs. And I said, they just waiting on Quishon Junkins to come back so that Dillon can hand off the ball to him. I said, coming into London, I said, I bet Quishon Junkins breaks 100 yards for the first time this year. And guess what? 110 yards out of 23 carries. But they had 140 yards overall. So they spread the ball around with the running backs. And all of this is to prop up Dillon. Dillon had 2 carries for 5 yards, which is not much, 2.5. But everybody on the roster as a running back got an opportunity to touch the ball, including Dillon Sampson. Y'all remember Mary Cabot asking, what's his name, Stefanski, about is Dillon gonna get out there? And he's talking about Dillon who? This guy right here with 1 carry and negative yards. That's who he tried to pretend like he didn't know who she was talking about. It's this guy right here, right? So just like I said, Quishon Junkins broke over 100 yards. This is really who carried the game. The running back room carried the game. And I don't even know if Malachi Corley, number 83, I think he might be a tight end. So they threw him out there too and let him help. So yeah, when you look at the colors, when you look at the chart, the graph, you can tell they just had Dillon out there to snap the ball, let him do a little razzle dazzle so they can keep him in the game. And they're going to say he only lost by 4 points. But they're not going to say he was only 57% accurate, which means if the game were flipped, and he had 252 passing yards, or he had, let's see right here. What did the quarterbacks have for Minnesota? Let's see. Carson Wentz, if he had 34 opportunities or more than, or 45, let's say what Flacco had, he gonna have some interceptions in there. So they keeping it conservative with Dillon. Oh, he scored his first touchdown from how many yards away? He was in the red zone, right? So the exciting football, the deep passes, that's gone because he don't have that ability, or they don't want him to have that ability. Just like Jackson Dart, and we're gonna talk about that game. If you thought that the Panthers and Miami was good, the Saints and the Giants was extra good. And it was extra good because the reporters was like, yeah, Jackson Dart is going to play the Saints, the team that passed on him. I was like, right. All right. So the Saints won the game. So we're going to talk about that because I'm going to tell you something right now. That was good. Jackson Dart, the Jackson Dart showed up. Not the one they was propping up out there in New York, but the one that went to Ole Miss and threw them damn interceptions, which is how he should have never got drafted in front of Shedeur Sanders, which is another reason they don't want to put Shedeur out here and bench Dillon, because Shedeur get in this game, get in any game, he gonna ball out. And